Hey, what you doing? Hello, everyone. Well, I'm going to make a promise again. But this time, I'm going to make every effort possible to keep it. I'm going to make this a short video. And there we have it. Is it an empty promise or a promise of a promise? Anyway, this is what this video is going to be about. I'm getting ready to do some yard work and to cut the grass and to go over my figs and all of the other summertime tasks which become necessary and essential actually during this busy period of our lives. And of course, I notice more work. You can't come out in a yard like this without noticing more work that has to be done. It's a full-time job. And I thought it might be interesting to bring this to your attention because you can see here that some branches, from the sheer weight of the fruit, the persimmons fruit, have broken off. And they've wound up at the base of the tree, a beautiful tree. It's a beautiful persimmons tree. Now, I might want to interject that Debbie has been after me for a number of years to cut some of these trees down and away. This one particularly is not one of her favorites because it is a little bit messy at times. Whenever we get hard windstorms, rain squalls, things like that, I end up with some branches broken. Persimmons is very brittle. This is an American persimmons. And the wood is very hard and it's very brittle. It's a well-established fact that at one point, persimmons was the wood of choice for golf clubs, for the actual woods, where they got their original name, woods, because it was so hard. And it was light when dry and hard, and perfect in those days before synthetic materials replaced the persimmons wood. It was the perfect medium for something called a golf club. It is very hard, exceedingly hard. In fact, when I do have to cut fairly large persimmons trees down, which I've done over the many, many years that I've grown them, it's a very difficult task. You better have a sharp chainsaw. It's still hard. And you better get it while it's still a little bit green. Don't wait for it to die or cut it and then leave it for a summer and then think you're going to go cut it afterwards into firewood or something, which it makes wonderful firewood. It burns so long and hot. It makes a beautiful ember. Anyway, you can see up there, I don't know, let me see if I can. You can see where these branches have broken off. And look at this one. See how it's bending over? It's arching. It's at the point of breaking. The next windstorm that comes along, it will break off. And that's okay. It's par for the course because you can see that I've got plenty of persimmons that remain on the tree all over the place. Plenty of fruit. It abounds with fruit on every branch, all over. And so there's not going to be any shortage, I can tell you. But a good gardener has a better plan than that. And so I want to reveal what mine's going to be. And it will, I promise you, come into fruition as soon as I can work out the time in my life to get to it, which probably will be after the harvest, because that makes the most sense. But where nature is taking these branches out at random, I'm going to selectively choose to take many of these branches out. Oh, look at this. Oh, that one's almost perfectly ripe. Look at that. See that? There's a couple. They're getting there. So pretty soon I'll be picking them right off the tree. Some of them will get ripe down there, by the way. I don't even have to remove them off those broken branches. But back to my subject of interest today, and I will indeed selectively choose to cut these branches and to make them sturdier. And so this is my plan. I'm going to cut most of these branches in half. I'm going to severely and radically prune this beautiful persimmons tree. This is pretty old. I've featured in my videos many much older trees and larger. But this one's going to have to be put under control, my control. What was that? Just flew by. And just a chicken hawk. I've got to be always on the alert for eagles. I have a lot of eagles around here now, and I always worry about penny pop. But I'm going to cut that. See that long branch right there? See it? Long, slender branch. And see those up there that are bending from the sheer weight of the fruit? And those up there that will eventually, they're going to bend. And there's fruit up there. See? Let me go up there. I'll show you. See the fruit up there? Can you see it? Because I can't. But it's up there, the fruit. So it's just a matter of time. So what am I going to do? I'm going to severely and radically prune this tree. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these branches off. I'm going to give it a big haircut. In fact, it's going to get such a haircut that Debbie's going to come out and look at this tree and she's going to be pleased. Maybe not entirely pleased. Not maybe comprehensively, completely pleased, because she would much rather, and I'm sure she would prefer that I cut it down completely, but I can't do that. And it makes good sense not to. I mean, after all, it's my fruit tree. She's after me. She's got a good point, and Debbie's always got she's got a good head on her shoulders. Better than mine in most instances. She's very logical and practical. I get a little emotionally involved in my decision making, especially when it comes to my orchard. Like, she wants to get rid of these pawpaw trees. And I just can't bring myself to cut these pawpaw trees down. And these pawpaw trees have been here for a couple of decades, more than. And it takes a long time. Look at the size of this. Look at the size of the pawpaw. Look at it. They grow slowly. Especially on high ground where I have these. High, dry ground. And they are full of fruit. They are very productive. I've featured these before. Not too often, but I have. And I've grafted onto these trees 5 varieties in total. And about 5 extra varieties, counting the one that it is. Some of them are better than others. From the storm, there's a couple here on the ground. There's some on the ground, but they're getting ripe. They're not quite ready yet. They always get ripe in September. So I'm going to look around later today and see if I can find a few ripe ones. And I will. But I'm not going to cut this tree down. Now, I have tied it and I've chopped it and I've cut it in the past. But I'm gonna leave these 2 beautiful trees along with this male persimmon. This is a male. This is a fully male persimmons tree that is a pollinator. It's a pollinator tree, which I have recommended and very much recommend. 100% recommend if you have American persimmons in your yard for full and better pollination. But getting back to these pawpaw trees and getting back to the whole issue of should I cut them down, well, Debbie's probably right. I mean, I don't know, but this is way out in my backyard. It's far away from our home, so it makes a little mess. So what? Every year we clean it up. I rake it up. It takes me 2 minutes to rake that up. And the deer come and eat them. And they need something to eat. And so do the raccoons and the possums. I mean, quite a few creatures come around here and eat up on these fallen pawpaw and the fallen persimmons. And do I really want to deny them a free meal? I mean, isn't their life difficult enough of being hunted, always under pressure, always living in fear, looking over their shoulder, seeing themselves being shot at, and certainly their offspring and so on and so forth? I mean, let's face it, they don't live an ideal life of complete ecstasy and contentment. I mean, their life is often shattered. They're often killed. They're run over by vehicles and cars. Then they have to endure the winter. I mean, what a grim thought. I mean, we are all very comfortable in our heated houses with a waterproof roof. We have television and entertainment and a refrigerator full of food, books to read, hobbies to pursue. We can enjoy our social engagements with others and not have to worry about being murdered or shot or starve from severe cold. And look at the discomfort too, when it's rainy and snowy and they're out in the cold and have to sleep in the woods on their bellies under a pine tree or someplace, trying to take some little semblance of refuge from the cruel world around them. And would I deny them some free food after all of that? I don't think so. Not going to do it. So there's my sermon and lecture for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your visit. Remember, when you're a farmer or when you're a naturalist or if you're a grower, sometimes you have to radically prune the things that you grow or remove them entirely. It requires care. It requires attention. It requires work. It requires often expense. Time is the greatest expense in these endeavors, as I'm sure you're well aware of if you're a gardener too. I remember I posted a video, if you want to go back and look at it, and it's something of the name, it's not an original term. It's one that I've read in the past, but it says the best fertilizer a gardener has is his shadow. Something to that effect. And what it means is the gardener's standing there, in the sun often, and he's watching over his crop, whether it's fig trees, whether they're in the ground, or whether they're in containers, whether they're persimmon trees, whether they're garden produce, which we're unraveling here. We still got plenty of figs and things. You see that? I could make another 5 videos right now. I've got all kinds of figs getting ripe too. And it's a very interesting... Oh, there's one back there. I ate one of these last night. Right there is another one, and it's just about ready. Just about ready, but not yet. Anyway, my foot caught in the net. I've got to take out some of these persimmon trees, these wild persimmon trees that are growing now. Like I said, there's always work to do. I got to get a net over this persimmon tree, this fig tree, because there's still plenty of figs to get ripe on this later variety of Celeste fig, which I like very much. And we are winding down on our tomato plants. We have picked a lot of cucumbers and a lot of tomatoes this year. we still have plenty of tomatoes getting ripe. I picked 2 last night, and I picked 1 this morning for Debbie's breakfast, which we included. We had eggs and tomatoes, scrambled eggs, and there's a beautiful tomato. Look at that. Let's stay another day, and then look at my basil. We call it Vazenagal, and I need now to make pesto sauce. Pesto with the nuts and grinding up and adding in the Parmesan cheese and olive oil and all the good stuff that goes into pesto. And I still have some peppers, some sweet peppers and some Hungarian wax peppers. And I have a lot of parsley that I should put in bags and put in the freezer so we have freshly frozen parsley which I prefer over the dry ones that you buy at the grocery store. But the garden is pretty much done, and that's fine because I'm almost done. I'm finished. I'm tired. I'm ready for fall. I'm looking forward to it, actually. But I'm going to squeeze out of the rest of the summer all that I possibly can with regards to enjoying my fig collection and the late varieties that are coming into fruition, and whatever remainderment I can enjoy in the garden, the tomatoes and so on and so forth. Let's go look at these tomatoes. Our son planted these very, very big producer, made a lot of these tomatoes. Interesting tomatoes, pretty good tasting tomatoes. I made a pasta dish for Debbie the other day, and she showed me, for all of you guys out there, all you fixers, and if you want to turn me off, if you haven't already done it, I can understand it. I'm rambling a bit, but I'm having fun, so I might as well continue. But anyways, Debbie showed a photograph out of the internet the other day, and it was a pasta dish with red sauce, and I told her, I can do that. I'll do that for you. I'll do you one better. And all of a sudden, instantaneously, I don't know why, I can't explain it. Look at this. The Tres Splets. There's a ripe fig. Oh, look at that. A Spanish fig. The Tres Splets. Alright. Why not? I'll gobble this thing down. No, not bad. It's okay. It's not an apex fig in my opinion, where taste is our primary concern, but if you're looking for other attributes, it's pretty interesting. I see there's some late figs going to get ripe on here. Hey, I'll take them. So back to the pasta. Instantaneously, all these ideas started flowing through my head. So I said, Deb, do you have a big onion? I'll get 2 tomatoes. I got from the garden, and I chopped up the tomatoes, and I got this real big onion, and I chopped it all up, and I started frying them together, I put fresh parsley and fresh basil in there, and I put olive oil, and I put a bunch of seasonings in there, even a little ginger, and something unique, and I fried it all together and got it going, And then I added the pasta. I got Deb to make the pasta on the stove, and I made sure I shook it nice and dry, and I added it in this unbelievable sauce. And then I took all these garlics, about 10 garlic cloves, that I fried separately with a tiny, tiny little bit of butter, not much. And I tossed it around, in the olive oil, and I got this really not overly cooked, very important, delicious garlic sauce going, And I added a few choice spices in it. I even added a little bit of Asian spices to it, and some Italian spice, and then when I got it just the way I wanted to, just the perfect way I wanted to, I added that to my other sauce with the tomato and the onion and all the things I told you about and the parsley. And then I put the pasta in there and I let it soak. And there was olive oil and all in there, and the garlic, and I just tossed it about, and it started to absorb, the pasta started to absorb all those sauces, the way I made it. And it was so unbelievably delicious, and the smell. And I took a little bit of it out. Then I got some Rejos, I'm going to tell you, Rejos, if I'm saying it right, tomato sauce, okay? And I doctored it all up for Debbie. Oh man, did I doctor it up. I put all kinds of garlic and this and basil, fresh parsley. I did all that Italian seasoning, and I cooked it up slowly, and I got it to where I just wanted it. It was just so wonderfully delicious. I added a little bit of sugar. I'm admitting that. Not much, probably just a teaspoon to that, half a jar. It was a half a jar of sauce, just to take the acidity out of it. And then I poured it over the other pasta mix that I made, all fresh from the garden except for the onion. And it was so good. I sprinkled a little bit of Parmigiano cheese over it for Debbie. Oh, how good it was. It was delicious. It was al dente. Now, that's what it's all about to me in the summertime. I always find something interesting to do, something interesting to eat out of the yard, new meals to prepare, things to try, new things, new experiments. And it's a wonderful time of the year. Here's some of the last of the Tiger, LSU Tiger. Now look at that leaf. This is an LSU Tiger. There's your perfect leaf of an LSU Tiger. But and that is too. But look at that one. See, it's an offlier. Isn't that weird? Outlier. But anyway, that's Tiger. I should go in there and eat that. I'm a little bit hungry. Should I? I made this video too long. Should I? Okay. I didn't need too much convincing. To do that. Oh yeah, these nice and ripe. What's that? Let's take this one. I see more in there. Let's take a bite out of this. LSU Tiger. Delicious. Wonderful. Oh. That's so good. Then I see some red Lebanese in there. Well, some other time maybe. I see a couple of nice ripe LSU Tigers down there. Later I'll go through the orchard and pick some more fruit. I see a lot of ripe figs in there. Okay. I hope you enjoyed our impromptu chat today. And I know, hold me to it, or I failed you. I promised. I really did promise. And I had every sincere intention of keeping my promise this time. I promised a short video. I did. I really did. And I failed you. Well, I hope you turned me off a long time ago if I was boring you. It doesn't matter. I don't mind. Good day. September 6th. Beautiful. Debbie brought to my attention this morning that there was a flock of turkeys in the yard, which is an everyday occurrence. I'll leave this for them.